Once you've decided on a type of graph to use, it's time to go back to the data in your science journal and make your graph. As you probably noticed, we are comparing two different categories of data here, plants with one trait and plants with another trait. So we want to see how the number of caterpillars with attack marks is different between those two categories of plants. So a bar graph will be best to use to show that difference. As you can see here, I have the caterpillar attack mark data that I pulled from my data sheet earlier at the top of my page. Below that, I'm going to draw my graph. If you have a ruler, you can use it to set up the graph in your notebook, both to use as a straight edge and to mark the numbers evenly. First, I need to set up my axes. So these are two lines, one vertical and one horizontal. The horizontal line that I'm going to add first is called my x-axis, and then the vertical line is called the y-axis. So now we have two lines to build our graph off of. Now I need to label my axes. So in science, we put the factor that we are investigating on the horizontal or x-axis. So on one side, I will write one type of plant. For me, this was big leaves. And next to it, I will write the other type of plant. For me, this was small leaves. This will, of course, vary depending on the plant characteristic you chose. So here, I'll write big leaves. And then over here, small leaves. Now for the vertical axis, the y-axis, this is where the caterpillar data you collected goes. So we can see if one plant type had a higher number of attacked caterpillars than the other. The bottom of this axis is always 0, so you can write 0 at the bottom corner here. And next you want to label the axis with tick marks for all of the caterpillars you place on each plant. So I placed 10 caterpillars on each plant, so I'll add 10 tick marks evenly spaced up to 10. I also want to be sure to label my axis so people can see what the numbers mean. So next to that, I will write number of caterpillars attacked. And I'll label these with my numbers too. Now it's time to create a bar for the number of caterpillars attacked for each plant type. So that's where you'll look back at the data that you have above to decide how large our bars need to be. So for the big leaves, it looks like I had one caterpillar that was attacked on plants with big leaves. So I'll look at my one tick mark, draw a little line here, and now I can create a rectangle that is one tick mark high. And that's how many of my caterpillars were attacked on plants with big leaves. You'll do the same with small leaves. We had 4 caterpillars that were attacked on my plant with small leaves. So over where I wrote this is where a ruler might come in handy. I'm going to draw another bar here. So now I can compare my data between the two different types of adaptations. Last but not least, I want to give my graph a title so someone reading it knows what I'm trying to show them. I'll call this number of caterpillars attacked on plants with big leaves compared to small leaves, and I'll write that at the top. All right, go ahead and work with your research teammates to create a graph of the data that you collected in your experiment.